welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom, and here we are at the end of our films for Rapunzel. So, Barbie Rapunzel. That is what we watched. Hold on, got a cat here. That was interesting. Okay, so I actually liked the story. The animation sucks. Note this. The animation sucks. But the story is very interesting. So what they do with Rapunzel, now they were able to do this. Apparently Mattel was when I looked at the IMDb page, they didn't make a bunch of other ones because they were afraid of Disney and copyright, even though technically there is no copyright on the fairy tales. They don't exist. They're Brothers Grimm, or I think, pretty sure Rapunzel's brother is Grimm as well. I'd have to double check. But that's what their original intention was, and they never did it. But Rapunzel, they hadn't made Tangled yet. So at first I thought, okay, they took some of the stuff from Tangled, but no, it was actually the other way around. So in this story of Rapunzel, we start off with Rapunzel's in a castle, and Gothel is keeping her prisoner. And shows up, and it's more like a Cinderella-esque kind of story in the beginning, where she's kind of enslaved and doing this woman's bidding, and then she's caught painting, which she's not supposed to be doing, because she's supposed to be working and cleaning and keeping the household together. And she has a rabbit friend and a small dragon. And the adult dragon is this, I think the little dragon's name is Penelope, and then her father's name is Hugo. And Madame Gothel has a weasel, so that's her sidekick. But in the process of making Gothel her tea and a small dragon trying to start a fire, they open up some secret passage. And then eventually Rapunzel is able to kind of get, because normally she's like trapped by the forest. Again, this makes no sense. But she finds like a secret passage to this village, and she meets this prince, and she doesn't know his name. And yes, that is important. But then she has to get back, and then Gothel finds out and locks her in a tower, uses magic to make a tower, destroys her paintings, and locks her in the tower. I don't know if she completely cuts off her hair at this point, but she locks her in the tower, and she can't get out. But she has a dream, and her hairbrush turns into a magical paintbrush, and she's able to paint the village, and she's able to go to the village, and she meets the prince again, and she still doesn't know his bloody name, and yes, that's important. But then her dragon friend has to come back, because if Gothel pretty much threatens to destroy this young Penelope's father, Hugo, if Rapunzel isn't still in the tower, essentially, because he's supposed to be guarding her. So she comes back to prevent Gothel from destroying Hugo, and Gothel finds the painting, and she destroys it, and then she puts a spell. The tower, whether the tower gets bigger or not, but it's very important, because she keeps asking Rapunzel for the name of the prince, and she doesn't know, because she's never asked his name. And she hasn't been around him long enough to learn his name. So Gothel puts a spell on the tower that is designed to forever keep a lying heart imprisoned. And then she puts a chain around Hugo's neck and basically chains him up. Eventually his daughter tells him the truth. It's like, she came back to save you. And then Hugo thinks, he's like, Rapunzel never lied. I mean, she can't be trapped in that tower. She can't get out. She can get out. So Penelope goes up there. Rapunzel's able to get out. She goes and finds the prince. Meanwhile, Gothel is trying to kill the prince, because reasons we don't quite understand that yet, but we had an idea, because she sees a love spell. It almost implies that Gothel was friends with some sort of king. And so, but Rapunzel gets back. She finds the prince is fighting, Gothel has shown up, and because these two villages have been between the prince and his family and this other king, Stefan, have been fighting for years. So, and there's some sort of feud going on. You don't understand it. And so Gothel shows up. The kings are fighting because I think it's actually Frederick, I think is the name, has shown up at the palace of our prince, who Rapunzel's in love with, and her father. And they're fighting, and the father of the castle, who's the prince's father, is about to lose. The prince kind of saves his dad, and then Gothel shows up and admits that she thought which turns out to be Rapunzel's father, was in fact in love with her, only he wasn't. She was just his friend. They were just friends, and he was never in love with her. And he'd been accusing the prince's father for stealing his daughter, but they hadn't. And Gothel admits that she had stole Rapunzel, and you'll never see her again, because again, she thinks Rapunzel knew the prince's name, so she's forever locked in this tower. Rapunzel's on her way. Rapunzel shows up. At this point, of course, Gothel had cut her hair off. I have no idea the purpose of the hair. Nobody ever climbs the hair in this. So the long hair makes no sense, except for it's identified as Rapunzel. Rapunzel, there's an argument. Gothel tries to zap and use her magic against Rapunzel. Rapunzel escapes, and a fire is started, and Rapunzel runs off, and she leads Gothel to a painting of the tower on the doors, which is how Rapunzel got out in the first place, before the whole tower was locked up, kind of thing, before she escaped the window for the second time. Because before, when the dragon came and got her, she used the magic paintbrush, and she went through the door into the, and so that the opposite is painted on the other side from where she came in. So she gets Gothel and so it's like, I'll forgive you. Everything will be forgiven. We can start over. Gothel's like, no, and be humiliated, no. So Rapunzel physically goes through the door, and she closes it behind her, and Gothel jumps, not paying attention, jumps through into the tower, and she's stuck. She tries to use her magic, and she calls for Hugo's, because as she's stuck in there, all her magic on everything dissolves. Again, magic and strangeness of these fictional stories. And Hugo's released because he'd been chained up, and he rises up. She's like, let me out. He's like, I can't. You put a spell on here that's unbreakable for anybody who has a lying heart. Rapunzel didn't lie. She had no lying heart. You, on the other hand, are not going anywhere. So, she is now stuck, and I don't think she can go back, because I think she may have destroyed the painting on the other side. Again, I don't. Not trying to make sense of fictional fairy tales. So, Gothel's now locked up with her weasel, who jumps in with her. And again, of course, she's in the tower. She's stuck anyway, so I'm guessing that's how it worked. Whether the painting's there or not, she's stuck. Rapunzel reappears. She reunites with her father. Her father asks forgiveness from the other king. All is forgiven. And, of course, it leads to the two prince and princess, I think his name is Wilhelm. She does finally figure out his name. Get married at the end of the story, and happily ever after. And now it goes back. It has a framing device where Barbie is trying to teach one of her little child friends how to paint, and it goes back, and it's like, I know now she knows what the little girl knows what to paint. She paints her dreams, what she dreams, which is what kind of Rapunzel did. So, very fun story. The animation is horrible. It really is. Will it work for small children? Yes. Is it with better animation, this is a really interesting story. It's very, very engaging. It's fast-paced. The hair makes no sense in this, but, it's Barbie. It's a Barbie Rapunzel. It was entertaining. It's a good thing I don't think teenagers would enjoy this just because the animation really is that bad. But younger kids, if you're talking about Rapunzel, specifically now that we realize that this was done before Tangled and you can find the connections of what did Disney get inspired by this. So it's very interesting because again, the whole painting thing is in Rapunzel, and the fact that she's a princess, which again is not in the original tale. Her father's usually just a worker. So he's half the time I think he's a cobbler, so he makes shoes. Or he's just a woodworker. So they take the fact that she's a princess from this, and that she paints, and that Gothel's really evil, and has magic. There's no the I want to be forever young thing is probably taken from Snow White. But it's very interesting to see that aspect that they took from this Barbie Rapunzel. The fact that she was painting and she was a princess. There, of course, is no feud in the other one because you don't want to mess around with copyright. So painting and being a princess isn't gonna get you in trouble. And again, the original Rapunzel is not under copyright any more than any of the classic fairy tales. From Hans Christian Andersen, which does the Frozen thing, that's the Snow Queen, not Frozen. That's copyrighted. Don't mess with that. You don't want to piss off Disney. Obviously, Mattel's a very, very big company, and they don't want to piss off Disney. It's not worth the money and the headache to piss off Disney. You just don't want to do that. So it's entertaining. Unless you're really looking at bad animation, 6th grade would be it. I wasn't thrown off by the animation, but I was aware of it. So take that into account. Not to mention it's Barbie. So 6th grade would be the max I would show it. I mean, older kids might enjoy it, but not without younger children. There would be no reason. It's a great way to teach inspiration of, okay, so what did they take from this what did Disney take? And again, otherwise it's just entertaining and it's fun. I mean, and it's a different take on Rapunzel because again, they kind of throw in some dragon, rabbits, Cinderella-esque, and there is a dress scene where she paints her dress, so we have some other Cinderella stuff. So there's a lot of Cinderella and finding Prince and having to run away because clocks ding. So there's a lot of Cinderella references in here. Lots of Cinderella references. So again, it's a halfway decent film for a Barbie movie. The story would probably do good with better animation and not Barbie. But again, it's a great story. It's, again, the animation sucks and it's a Barbie. But it's great for elementary school kids who can sit still. That's not my child. She's at camp. It's not my child. She does not sit still for very long times. And she's also not quiet. So she would talk through everything because that's what she does. Nonetheless, halfway decent film for Barbie, 6th grade. I'm going to recommend it despite, the animation, but it's fun. It's fun. It's entertaining. I really do like the story. If it weren't for the animation, this would be fantastic. But again, it's Mattel and it's Barbie, and movies are not their thing. They make toys. They're very good at making toys. The American Girl dolls are very expensive toys. Yeah, that'll be next year. I'm going to be covering American Girl doll books next year. Hopefully I'll show off the American Girl dolls for these books, because yes, I do have several. Okay, technically they belong to my child. But still, nonetheless, they're in my household. So, like and subscribe. Leave a positive comment if you have one, and look forward to more Cinderella next month. And again, if you want to check out the original stuff, I did it a couple of years ago. So, thank you.